It's a small percent.
I'll call the Wisconsin Rapids Waterworks and Lighting Commission meeting to order. Number 2, approval, additions or corrections to the minutes of the following meetings of the special commission meeting held on May 8th, 2019.
I move we accept the minutes as presented.
I'll second that.
Rick made the motion and Joe second. All in agreement, please say aye.
Aye.
Regular commission meeting held on May 8th, 2019.
I move to approve the regular commission meeting as written.
I'll second that.
Okay, John made the motion. Rick second. Are there any additions, corrections? If not, all in agreement, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, action items. Request to attend APPA Business and Finance Conference.
Just requesting from the commission the opportunity to attend APPA's Business and Finance annual meeting. This year it's held in Minneapolis. Makes it a little bit easier to get to. Held in September. Usually some really good topics and some really good speakers. And just hoping to have the opportunity.
Anything in particular, Jeff, that is highlighted that piques your interest?
I think, we're going to be probably right on the verge or in the midst of an electric rate case and just kind of seeing what some other utilities are doing with electric rates and kind of getting hopefully some ideas. And from there is kind of one of my top priorities right now.
I would move for approval.
I would second that.
Okay, John Bergen made the motion and Rick second. Any other discussion? If not, all in agreement, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, department update, safety committee meeting. Any questions, comments? If not, the line superintendent report.
Those animal guards, squirrel guards are doing a good job, huh?
Yeah, they're working.
Either that or the squirrels don't like the rain.
Maybe a little both.
Is 6 light poles knocked over? Is that kind of average for a month? Or is that
Yeah,
kinda
that's
high?
over the winter.
Oh, that's over the winter?
Yeah, so we wait till spring and then try to get them back up.
Oh, okay. So that's not really too bad, 6 over a whole winter.
No, not too bad at all this year.
Was that, were they actually knocked over by traffic, or is this wind, or
Mostly traffic.
mostly traffic?
Yeah, snowplows get 1 or 2 a winter probably.
Any other questions? If not, the water department operation?
Another lead service taken out of the system, huh?
Yes.
Was that part on Grand Avenue, was that the new construction? Are we removing lead from that area, East Grand?
No, East Grand has no existing lead on it right now. There's just a couple services for Solaris, Tom's, and so on, and those are actually large services to much diameters. The lead service was for 14th Avenue South.
When you said lead verification, was there any action taken on whether, was there lead found in those verifications?
For 14th Avenue South, there was a lead service there. That's the reason that.
Did they replace that?
Yep.
And I know it says you're working with Strand Engineering, I believe, on modeling. Is that, I think we have that in the budget
Yes.
here.
Yep.
And what are you trying to find out water flow rates around.
So what
the
it's
state.
doing is going to create a computerized model, digitized model of the water system. They'll be able to determine where we have deficiencies for fire flow and for water quality. And so by creating the model, then they can tell us what size mains to put in the ground if they want 6 and 8 inch without oversizing it.
I see. Long overdue. I don't know how long we've been operating on the old one, but it's been a while since I've been here pretty much. Any other questions? If not, the customer support supervisor report. Yeah, I saw there was 161 disconnections in May, was it?
Yes, we had a lot.
Is that a lot?
Yeah, it was kind of a lot this year.
Yeah, I would think so.
I mean, a lot of those customers were reconnected, but they were actually disconnected.
Is that because of like a delay because of all the snow, the late snows, or no?
No, I don't think so. I think, I can't really explain why there were more this year than there were in the past. We just had a lot of people, I guess, wait until we actually disconnected them to come in and pay. So,
Oh.
It's good to see collections are staying in good control here.
Anything else? Not Director of Finance report?
Jeff, you gotta sell some more.
Trying.
I think it just highlights the need for that water rate case, and I think what you're alluding to too is the coming need for the electric case.
Probably in the next, I mean, I would think sometime in the next year, we'll probably look at starting the rate case.
As long as this one's taken, we might want to file it next week.
So,
We do, Jeff, want to give an update. You found out a little bit more from the PSC this morning as far as where it's headed, so.
Sure, yeah.
The water rate case.
As far as the water rate case, the full Public Service Commission, the 3-member commission, plans to meet on July 18th to kind of discuss our rate case, and if they finalize the outstanding issue that we had with the filter plant, we should get our ruling within 1 to 2 weeks after that, or the final decision on our rate case. So that's going to put us right near August 1st, and we kind of need to start on the 1st of a month. So if we get it in July, the new rates will be effective August 1st, but if we get it August 1st or after, those rates won't be effective until September 1st. It's not seen until October on revenue then.
Are we represented at that PSC?
We're not. Basically, all that happens, they probably take about 15 agenda items. Staff writes up a memo as far as, here's the facts, here's the issues, here's the possible alternatives that you can choose. And it's a pretty quick meeting. They had one this morning, and they went through the 15 issues in probably 30 minutes. So they're pretty well versed, and just kind of go through and make the decision.
We had our public hearing this month here at the office. We had a few people show up, but that was about it. And the PSC was on the phone for that.
so what is your projection for the cash flow deficit at this point?
At this point, I mean, we're probably looking, I would say, probably about 150,000 of revenues that we were planning this year. That incorporated, if we continue to have the wet weather, is really going to hit our irrigation revenue also. So I think water might be a little hurt in 2019, but should turn around in 2020 then.
Is that having any impact on your overall cash flow and your ability to capture good interest rates? Have we had to make some changes to compensate for the negative cash flow?
We haven't at this point. We haven't had a draw other than our typical draws that we take out to pay a pilot or something, or our borrowings. We haven't taken any cash out of any of our investments this year yet, and probably won't need to. I'm not anticipating that we'd need to unless some larger expenses do come down kind of all at once. Several trucks happen or something, within a couple of weeks that we need to pay for.
The grand land sales have helped pad the water depreciation account, so we should be in good shape till we get the rate increase implemented.
Okay.
I noticed on the water, industrial sales are down like $50,000. Is that because industry has found other means of conservation? Or?
I think it's conservation more than anything, and we continue to, verify, some of our larger industrial customers just to make sure things are right. We'll have the meter department or the water department go out just to make sure, bypass valves aren't turned on or partially left open or something like that, and there hasn't been any issues, so it's just change in processing more than anything.
Yeah, I saw in the GNA on water is up like 50,000 from last year this time. Were there any changes in accounting that you had to put it all in January or something?
There was one with that, there was a retiree that retired in January, and we had that insurance buyout. You can either have your 3 years of health insurance, or you can take it up front in the health savings account, and then you go find your own insurance. So we had a water employee who retired in January take that option, so he had a large chunk of money go in January that was expensed in January, where if he would have stayed on our health insurance, it would have been a little bit over the next 3 years.
So you can take 3 years up front in cash?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, nice.
Actually, in the long run, it's better for us.
Yeah, it's better for us.
It might be,
Yeah.
Not that healthcare rates would go up.
No, not at all.
On the electrical side, the power cost adjustment is $755,000 roughly, and that's a $290,000 difference from last year. Are we still getting using the rate adjustment from glue that?
The lower rates are all through 2019, so that's why we've got that higher deficit in that power cost adjustment, is because our power costs are lower this year.
And we're running ahead of budget this year, so we might expect another reduction in 19. I wouldn't be surprised in power supply costs, because I think glue's up close to $1 million ahead of where we expected their budget.
All right, that's all I have. Anybody else have anything? Okay, the Information Systems Administrator.
How many weeks now?
For what?
The cellular modem device is deployed, so you got one up and running?
One's been up for about a month.
Month now?
Yeah, I got it in the beginning of May, so
Okay.
it's been about a month.
No, I take it this is similar with the SCADA system?
Yeah, same type of thing with one minor variation.
And the SCADA is operating the utility and the water with your computerized system?
Yeah, these in particular will be used for what we call reclosers, so they're the field breakers mounted on the poles. Right now, we don't have any data that comes back to tell us if they've operated or if they're open. There's 17 of those in the system, so once we get this system in place, that'll give us another window into the lines when, let's say, a storm goes through as to what's open, what needs maintenance, that type of thing.
I see. Does that have something, is that also going to be part of water also with?
No,
It could eventually
well, yeah,
be.
This is just electric.
Yeah.
Right. Everything else is on fiber, so wells, substations, water towers are all fiber from here. So,
Okay.
yeah. This economically running fiber on the distribution lines, miles out to these poles didn't make, sense.
kind of the same as with the meter reading.
Sure.
Where they're located, the poles are miles away from anywhere where we could connect, so.
Oh, good. I hope it works.
And the city IT support, is that still ongoing, or does that have a sunset coming, or?
Well, they haven't asked for help as much as I kind of thought they would.
Okay.
So they're handling it pretty good over there. They got the summer intern in now.
Okay.
For the IT department, and they've hired on the IT manager.
Okay.
I guess is what they're calling it now, or IT supervisor.
Okay.
He's supposed to start, I think, this month, sometime this month.
And your cyber project is progressing?
Yeah, that's been going. Cybersecurity policies, Jem and I are going to go over those, sit down and talk about them, and then we'll bring them to you guys for approval.
That's been my bad. It's been my inbox for a while, and I finally got through them like last week or the week before.
Yeah.
Anything else? If not, the conservation manager report. I saw you were at Ocean Spray, and do we want them to go to one meter and one larger water line, and rather than as a two they have coming in?
Considering the water rate increase, the fire protection side of things, which is a charge on the bill, went up a considerable amount. So considering that we had discussions with Verso on possibly looking at their water meters, Ocean Spray got mentioned between Jem and Jeff and myself to contact Ocean Spray to see if there was any way that they could possibly save. We saw some meters that weren't being used that much. So
5 or 6 meters going in there.
you know, in that case, there was two in particular that in my discussions with Ocean Spray, we could eliminate those meters, which they were in the process of looking at that as well, eliminating those 2 meters. Then there was 3 particular ones that Adam and Dale and I went and looked at that we figured we could put into a larger meter, which would be an 8-inch and eliminate a 4-inch and 2 6-inch. So that would get rid of a lot of monthly charges, or I guess I should say 3 of them, and convert it over into 1 meter. And so there was quite a good savings there. The return of investment on it would be, I think it was 1.5 years. So they are going to move forward with that project.
That benefits them, right?
Correct.
What benefit do we have? Having to service 1 meter or worry about 1 meter?
Essentially, it's saving them on their bill. It doesn't have any, I guess, positive effect with us, no.
Okay.
Other than helping out one of our larger
Yes.
customers.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Well, we must have fewer meters to
Yeah, it would be
worry
less
about.
than
Absolutely.
Director of Engineering and Electric Operations.
So is that how would you classify that outage from that tree fall as a?
Human error.
Well, right, yeah. That's not what I meant, but funny nonetheless. But, from a large outage or a small outage, or I don't know how you classify that.
Well, I guess a little over 4,000 customers, over 14,000, so I'd consider that a very big outage.
Okay, okay. Because it took a bunch of retail out too as well, didn't it?
Yeah, Walmart was one of the
Right.
big ones that was
Right.
hit.
Yeah,
So
okay.
They have backup.
they do not, which I'm surprised. So, I think they're looking into it though. So,
A friendly reminder.
The Matalco hookups and so on are all progressing as
Yeah,
planned?
we have a meeting next Tuesday, Josh and I, with one of the people from the engineering company to go over temporary power again. They're going to have a surveyor on site to stake out the route they want to take on their property so that we can start working on that.
Have they broke ground yet, you know?
I have not been out there, so I do not believe so. I know the last time we talked to them on the phone, again, this is the engineering company, they were working more with their surveying and mapping it all out. So.
Are we going to have any additional costs with this Baker substation project?
Yeah, well, we already have money in the budget this year, and then there'll be another line item for next year. That was put in this year with anticipation of this project to go forward. And we are the owner of the substation, so common facilities are at our cost. So this year I'd like to get started on putting in the ground grid and possibly the new fence around the ground grid. So again, that's budgeted for this year to work on that.
Okay. No surprises at this point?
No, I mean, we had some tough negotiations going on because they wanted us to do a lot more on our end, and a lot of our equipment was already new, less than 10 years old, but they have their own standards, and they wanted some equipment replaced, and we said, no, we're not going to do that. And being the owners of the substation, we were ready to pull away from the project if they weren't in agreement with that, so they backed off. And so now everybody seems to be happy. So the project's moving forward, and we don't have to spend an extra probably $400,000 or $500,000 on equipment that's less than 10 years old. So.
Good.
Any other questions? If not, the general manager report. The municipal electric utilities of Wisconsin, you had something about a cell that it would cost the utilities and the municipalities more money if this were to go through.
Well, the small cell bill is still being bannered about in Madison. It's kind of a copy of what the FCC already passed, which we were able to get some exemption on the munis. So the bill is being fast-tracked, and the league was supporting it initially, but they didn't know the language that was in there, so kind of MUW let the league know that, you know, this language could be very detrimental, basically let them use our right-of-ways without any permission or advanced engineering and at a lower cost than what our agreements call for attachments. So we were able to clean up a couple things in the language with help from the league, that when they said they were going to oppose it unless the changes were made, once they knew what was going on with the bill. And now they've changed it, so basically all our old contracts still apply and they still need permission for attachments, so everything should be okay as we go forward.
Now, when you say a small cell, like cable, telephone,
4G stuff,
4G
mainly, yeah.
5G.
5G now, yeah. I'm a G behind.
Isn't that 5G going to have implications, though, for a lot more locations?
Well, and I think it'll be slower here than other places. I think they're concentrating on more metropolitan areas at this point, but they're trying to get all the legislation passed so that when they're ready for our area, they can go.
But it still could be a significant revenue generator when it comes into the municipality, right? Because of the number of locations they're going to require.
Potentially, yeah. More attachments at whatever it is, 29, 30 bucks a pole a year, so yeah.
Oh. But we just want to make sure it's revenue positive.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have any operational concerns for us, like too close to the line and stuff like that,
Right.
enough clearance, safety issues, all those things.
You gotta have control, no. I see updated strategic plan. Does that have any implications for us?
No, it's more of a glue thing going forward. I mean, whatever they implement would impact us eventually, yes, but I think it'll, you know, we did one of these 4 or 5 years ago, and with Milosh sunsetting at the end of this year, we just thought at the last board meeting it'd be a good idea to get another one in place prior to him leaving, so that's where we're at. I'll keep you informed as we develop it.
And are we with Hometown Connections right now?
No, we have not, and actually, since I wrote this, we actually picked the Vision companies as the facilitator, and not Hometown Connections. But at the same time, Great Lakes Utilities is looking at being an investor in Hometown Connections, which was owned by American Public Power Association, but is now owned by a group of joint action agencies like GLU, 4 or 5 of them. So we're looking at about a $225,000 investment to be a 1/5 owner in Hometown Connections. And that's still being kicked around. We haven't made a decision on it yet.
But you're not going to use them?
We are not, no.
Oh. Okay.
We like the other proposal better.
All right. Any other questions? If not, accounts payable.
Engineering assistance and water hydraulic model. Maybe because of missed meetings, I've missed what we learned from that. Is there any comments about what we learned from that?
Oh, I think that's what Tom.
That's what I asked
we were
Adam
talking about
about.
earlier. It's not done yet, but we should know. I don't know when do they
It's
forecast?
late August is what we're looking for deliverable.
Okay.
It was in the budget.
The Ferguson expenses for water inventory, is that just piping or?
It's just ordering
valving?
material.
Okay.
They make a lot of invoice, every delivery they have, we get an invoice, so I
Okay.
mean, whenever they drop pipe off or anything,
Okay.
we get multiple invoices from them.
A lot of what they deliver is for our joint projects with the city.
And Twiggs Beverage Bottled Water, I assume that's our bottled water. Is that the one in Shawano?
Yes.
Okay. So how much, do we know how much
They are about $6.
does it cost
a case.
us?
About $6 a case tap
Okay.
bottle.
Okay.
Any other questions? Well, I have one. Let's see, temporary cash, is that $100,000. You do that out of the investments into?
Just out of cash into temporary investment. I mean, we had a larger kind of first down payment from Matalco late April. So, I mean, it did make cash negative for the month, but just had a little extra cash to put over there temporarily. We'll pull that out in a couple of months when we start.
Matalco made the payment to you?
Yes.
And you, okay.
Yep.
If there is nothing else, how about somebody make a motion to end the meeting?
So moved.
John made the motion. Joe second. All in agreement, please say aye.
Aye.
You lied to me in the beginning. You said the meeting was already over.
I lied.